I don't usually do England videos, but I feel like I have to. I feel like I've just witnessed a sort of disaster class in how to manage a collection of players with this much talent. Gareth Southgate, you are simply not good enough, my friend. You're really not. I'm not a hateful person at all, but I'm very frustrated watching this man lead this collection of players, lead this country against itself. Ultimately, we've got a whole bunch of talented footballers who are being led into the darkness by a man who doesn't have the bravery or the tactical nous to get this team anywhere near as good as it should be. Once again, I am not a hateful person. I really am not. But for a long time, I've sort of started to dislike Southgate because I feel like he's a bit snide. I've heard him make digs at Grealish. I've heard him make digs at Foden and other such players when people question his authorities. He's always felt a little bit snide. He's willing to throw a player under a bus just to make a point, in my personal opinion. And he did it yesterday with Foden, essentially calling him a system player. He did it like a sort of a shit sandwich way. He said something quite nice, but then said Phil only knows how to play one way. And essentially gave him the blame for his performance. And he's done a few things that before where he's talked about how, you know, if he doesn't play Jack, everyone will have a go at him on social media, so he's not going to give in to that and all this kind of stuff where he does things like that. So ultimately, I'm saying this for a reason, because I don't like Southgate. I don't think he's a likeable person. I feel like he's a bit snide. I feel like he's a bit... He's like, Southgate to me reminds me of the worst caricature of a cop. When people say cops are actually just sort of power control freaks who aren't good with people, pretend to be nice, but actually would probably grass you up and look after the mates always and would happy to do that. That's what he reminds me of. But away from that personal feeling I have about Southgate, I think it's deeper than that. I have an issue with Southgate because I feel he's simply not brave enough or good enough, and will then blame the players as a result of that indirectly, because Southgate thinks everyone's the problem other than himself. I look at this England side and I see a side that is caught between ideas. I see a side that's got square pegs in round holes. I see a side that doesn't play with confidence, that doesn't know where they should be at any moment. And I see a side caught between ideals. You've got an England side that wants to apparently be a possession-based side, but then you don't have a Jack Grealish involved. You have Conor Gallagher and Declan Rice on the pitch who can't take the ball from the centre-backs and progress it up the pitch. You have Trent Alexander-Arnold, a guy who's never been a midfielder, playing there. And you've got Phil Foden, your probably best natural number 10, playing as a left winger to fit him on. So you've got this ideal that England apparently have, and then you've got players who can't play this role. And then you bring on runners like Jarrod Bowen and you take off your best passer. I don't mind an England side that's going to be pragmatic if you go to play to their strengths. If you're going to play, sort of defensive football, pragmatic football, then you play your runners. You've got to look at France, and I'm going to thank my mate Umir for this, who tweeted this. He made a very good point. He said, look at France, man. They've got Camavinga and Tchouaméni on the bench because they know that Kante, playing in the Saudi League at that age, and Rabiot will be great, simple defensive stalwarts for the runners of Mbappe and Dembele and co. They know that will work for them, so they do it intelligently. If you're going to play Conor Gallagher and Declan Rice, have the runners. You should have bought Rashford or Sterling or someone like that, or play Bowen in behind. I don't mind playing lesser players, so to speak, if you're going to play to those players' strengths, but we don't do that. You've got a team that's half runners and half possession based, but nowhere at all. It's an absolute mess of an identity, and it simply is not good enough. And once again, this is not a reaction to England not winning. I do not mind England not winning. I don't mind teams not winning if they play well, if the intention is there, if the football is good. It's not about the results. It's about the identity. It's about the lack of bravery. It's about the sort of cowardly football where you can tell that he thinks too much about what the media think about him. So I've got to play Foden, Bellingham and Trent on the pitch because they are seen as the best players. I've got to cow down to the Liverpool fans, to the City fans, to the Arsenal fans, to the Real Madrid fans. He cares too much about what the press think. Be a bold manager, mate. Like, there is nothing wrong with leaving players on the bench. I would almost respect him if he left Foden on the bench and played an actual wing if that's what he wants to do. I don't care if he plays the players that I like, if the team is balanced and works. It's how I've always said with City. Look, if Pep put Foden on the bench every single week and City won every single game, I'd be like, well, Pep knows best. Even if he is my favourite player, Phil Foden, I'd be like, Pep knows best. He's right. But that is not the case here, man. That is not the case at all. You've got people like Cole Palmer sat on the bench, just, picking splinters out of his arse, and you've got Anthony Gordon waiting to get on, who's one of the most direct wingers that we've got, who just runs for days. Or you've got actual possession-based footballers in Kobbie Mainoo or Adam Wharton. Why bring them there? Why bring off Trent Alexander-Arnold because we struggle to move the ball at the pitch, and bring on Conor Gallagher, a functional player, a decent player, but he's just Jordan Henderson but younger, a bit more of a goal threat maybe. But why bring him off to try and fix the midfield and bring on someone who doesn't bring what we're missing? Why not bring Adam Wharton on? Why bring Adam Wharton at all? At all, full stop, if you don't think that he can do that. If you don't think you can trust him. I'm sick of managers bringing players that they do not trust, or if they can't see why the player would be useful. Be fucking brave, man. Have a pair of balls. Where is the bravery of this team? And when we get to the actual game today, look, I actually thought, I'm going to say Phil was perfect, but you could tell Phil really wanted to make things happen. There was that one run when he beat 3 or 4 people, and he should have played the pass to Harry Kane. He absolutely should have, and I'm not going to defend him for not playing that pass. But it was a great show of courage and bravery, trying to make things happen. And he did it a few times. He hit the post, a couple of long-range shots, a couple of runs. And it's nice stuff. Where Jude Bellingham is a cracking player, but Jude Bellingham wasn't even involved today. He was diabolical by his standards. He was absolutely terrible. He got on the ball, ran into people and gave it away. Played one nice pass for Watkins later on. But if you're playing for form, Phil should have gone central. And then why bring on Eze as a left winger? Like, why? Eze is, at best, you've got to put him out of position, put him on the right, cutting it. But, like, Eze coming on as a left winger when you can play Anthony Gordon there. Eze's a 10 or a midfielder or an 8. He's not a left winger. He's inexperienced at this level. That game was crying out for Jack Grealish in the squad, if we're being honest. We need to bring people on who can keep the ball if that's what we want to be. If we don't want to be that, fuck it off. That's fine. Bring on runners, but then play the players who will do that. Like, you can't have your cake and eat it. You can't be both things at once. And we've got a team who's no bravery. We haven't got a left back in the squad because Shaw's not fit. We've got Kyle Walker. Fine, that's great. But then you've got John Stones, who can go to midfield and who can progress the ball up the pitch and let your midfielder get a bit further forward. But no, we don't do that. I'm sorry. I'm sick of it. I'm sick of seeing Guardiola coach a team so well they'd have to watch Southgate's football. It's just so poor. It's so unintelligent and it's so basic. And you can see it. You can see it that the players aren't happy with it. And the problem is when you play football this bad is that you lose the crowd. You lose the room. And I think these players who are coached by the likes of Klopp, just gone, or Ancelotti, or Guardiola, or Arteta, will look at this and go, okay, Gareth. They'll be like, all right, mate, sure. But they won't respect him, man. They won't respect him. They won't respect him because they know he hasn't got a clue. And that is what's frustrating to me. That's what's frustrating. Look, I am not the world's biggest England fan, but I watch this and I see a manager who just doesn't... I don't buy the nice guy thing. I actually think he's a bit snide. He's got no tactical intelligence because he's caught between ideas. And that comes from a lack of bravery because he cows down to the media. He cows down to the crowd. Fuck what I think about Phil Foden. Fuck what people think about Trent. Be a fucking manager, man. Make the difficult decisions. The best managers will do that. And look at France. They've got balance. They're not a great side, but they will play Rabiot and Kante and Lee Camavinga on the bench if it means that they can just hit the runners and be defensively solid. I respect that at least. And then you've got, Nagelsmann, an actual tactical manager who will play Andrick alongside Kroos so Kroos can do his thing. And then Gundogan ahead of him will get a free roll because they've got that balance. They'll play a left back, an actual left back, and they'll play experience. And I watch this side and think, we haven't got that at all. It's just not good enough at all. I don't even want Palmer on the left wing, Kate. I want Palmer to play where he should play, if he's going to play at all. And I don't mind, once again, if he played Foden on the bench and put Gordon on, and that was fine. Why are we so scared to have good players on the bench? I don't get it. I do not get it. Stop caring what Liverpool fans think, what City fans think, what Arsenal fans think. Care what England fans think. And I wish actually as a fan base we got behind the idea of balance. I don't care. I want this England team to be good. It doesn't mean I want certain players in the team. I want balance. And that's all I've got to say. It's just a short video to rant about it because it's not good enough. Southgate is not good enough. He isn't. And that's all I've got to say. In a bit, guys, like the video, subscribe. Bye-bye.